Have you ever made one of those crispy Korean pancake recipes here on YouTube, only to get something that was gluey and soft? I have, and it is super frustrating. So today I'm gonna show you how to make the ultimate crispy, crunchy Korean pancake. And I'm gonna tell you about how I let all of you down. But if you're here for just the recipe, then make sure you go ahead and skip to this point in the video. Now, about a year ago, I made a video called How to Make Korean Pancake Crispy, and it's been my top performing video, and I really did try to address the problems that people were having when it came to making Korean pancake recipes. Now, if you take a look at the different Korean pancake recipes here on YouTube, you'll find a lot of creators describe their pancake as being crispy or crunchy. Let's just go and take a look.
Crispy, savory pancakes stuffed.
And when you look through the comment section, you will find some form of this question right here. So in my Korean pancake video, I tried to address that problem, and did I succeed? No. I actually missed the mark by a lot. Take a look at these comments here. That last comment. Ouch. To all of you who tried to make my Korean pancake recipe video, I'm sorry. I really did try my best, but when the rubber hit the road, I left you sitting at the starting line instead of celebrating a crispy, crunchy victory. So I went back and I tested and tested and tested, and I ate every single failure that I produced. I gained a few pounds in the whole process because, let's face it, flour and oil is not a superfood. It's more like a supersize me food, but I digress. I put out a recipe that you took the time to try, and I disappointed you. But that all changes today. I have improved my technique and recipe on how to achieve that crispy, crunchy crust that you're looking for, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like. First, the bottom, deep golden brown, indicating a super crunchy texture. In the middle, vegetables in a bit of batter. The texture, soft and creamy, a great contrast to the crunch. The top, a thin shell of crisp that provides structural integrity to the pancake. The overall crunch has increased by 200%, and we've reduced the chewy doughiness by over 60%. And the level has been increased from 1 to over 9,000.
What? 9,000?
The results are a completely re-engineered Korean pancake that is crunchy, delicious, and addictive. I'm not gonna let you down again. So let's make the crunchiest Korean pancake recipe here on YouTube. Now we're gonna get started with our vegetables here, of which we need some Chinese leeks. Now if you can't get your hands on this, do not substitute them with regular leeks. Instead, you wanna use green onions, and we're gonna cut this into about 5-inch pieces. Next, we're using a little bit of onion, and this is not wholly traditional to this specific version of Korean pancake, but I like the taste of onion, so we're gonna use some of that. And all of the vegetables are done. Now I'm just squeezing the onions here to kind of separate them so that they're easier to work with. Now the batter is the crucial part of this recipe. First, we're starting off with 1 part flour and an equal part of starch. Now this is important because we don't want to create a lot of gluten in our batter. We want to make sure that it is nice and creamy in the middle while being crispy on the outside. Now if you can't get potato starch, you can definitely use cornstarch instead. Now we're also adding in a bit of baking soda to introduce some air into our batter to make sure that it's light, and a pinch of salt for some flavor. And for the wet ingredients, I'm using an equal part of soy sauce and miso. And you can definitely skip this if you don't have them on hand. These are totally optional. And I'm using carbonated soda. The acid in the carbonated soda is going to react with the baking soda, and it's going to give us a little bit of a rise. So in goes the cornstarch along with the baking soda and the pinch of salt. Now whisk everything to combine. And for the wet ingredients, I'm combining my miso and the soy sauce together, and then adding in the carbonated soda. Now very important is that you want that soda ice cold to prevent any gluten from forming in that batter. So now we add the dry ingredients into the wet, and we're giving it a whisk, And you're gonna see it starts kind of bubbling up, just like when you mix baking soda and vinegar together. It's gonna ensure that our batter is not doughy, it's not chewy, but instead we get something that's crispy and creamy in the middle. Now for my pancakes, I like to use a heavy-duty cast iron skillet. That's because it can hold onto its heat really well, so when I pour that cold batter directly into the pan, it's not losing a lot of heat. If you're using a non-stick pan, which you totally can do for this recipe, I recommend that you heat your pan a little bit hotter. And to ensure that we get a very, very crispy Korean pancake, I'm adding in 4 tablespoons of oil. And I know that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, but that's really the only way you can get it. I've tried this recipe with 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, even 3 tablespoons of oil, and it just didn't come out completely crispy. I found that 4 tablespoons is perfect to get a very crunchy crust. And if you're using a larger pan than I am, then you're gonna need a little bit more oil. You wanna make sure that there's enough oil on the pan so when you tilt it, it pulls up on the sides. Now we're gonna go ahead and hit the like button, hint hint, and then we're gonna turn the stove on. Now as you can see, my stove is on medium heat, which is number 5, but this burner is a little weaker than a gas stove. So if you're cooking on flame, you wanna make sure that you're kind of on a medium-low heat. For me, that's gonna be medium. If you're cooking with a non-stick pan, you're gonna make sure that your heat is just a little bit higher than this. So we're gonna let the oil heat up for about 3 minutes. Now you can test the oil by pouring a few drops in there, and there you go. You see how it just fries up instantly? That's exactly what we're looking for. So once you get this, then you're ready to go. Now we're gonna pour half of our oil into the pan and try to get it around the whole circumference of the pan. You can see I'm not doing a very good job of that here. If you missed a few spots, you can just pour a little bit of batter into there to fill up those little cracks and crevices. And now I'm adding in my onions edge to edge, and then we're going with those Chinese leeks just right on top like a green blanket. Now I'm pushing the vegetables into the batter with the spatula because you don't want them to come separated. You don't want these to be 2 separate layers that fall apart. You want it to hold together. So while the batter is still slightly raw, you want to push the vegetables into there so that that way they adhere to the pancake. And with our leftover batter, we're just gonna pour it right on top, and we're gonna continue to press down on those vegetables to get everything mixed together into one pancake. Now we're gonna give this about 3 minutes to cook, and then we're gonna flip it over. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip this over, and there you go. Now you can see this. This is what you're looking for. If you can feel it with your fingers, you'll feel that it's extremely crunchy. This is probably the crunchiest Korean pancake that you're gonna find here on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell because I've got so many more of these videos coming up very soon. Okay, 3 minutes are up and I'm flipping it over again, and look at that. Now you can see there's a big color difference between this side and the bottom side. Now this is our serving side. This is the side that we want to look pretty. The batter on this side is not going to be as crispy as the one on the underside, but don't worry, it is absolutely delicious and it's going to be so crunchy. And now I'm going to take it off of the pan and add it right onto a cooling rack just for a second, and then we're gonna slice it up. Now what I like to do is I like to cut this into slices like a pizza, and we're going with 8 equal pieces here. So there we go, the crispiest Korean pancake here on YouTube, and now we just need somebody to try it out.
itadakimasu. Ooh! You can hit the nail with this. You nailed it! Oh, it is so crunchy! Oh my gosh! Let me try the outside part. Can you hear?
I can hear it from here. I can hear the crunchy sound.
I can hear from here. Wow, this is very, very crispy. But inside is very, very creamy at the same time. How did you do this? How did you make this?
It's magic.
It's like two totally different texture in one pancake. And it's not greasy at all.
Now when we look at this from the side, you can see why it's so crunchy. Adding in that batter first gives us a really nice layer of crispy crunchiness. You can just see how golden brown it is, and the vegetables are sandwiched in between. You can see that layer of batter there. It's still soft and it's really creamy, and then of course we have that top layer of batter on there that adds just an extra layer of crispiness. That bottom crunchy layer prevents the moisture of the vegetables from leaking out and making that bottom layer soft. Now you might see other Korean pancake recipes where they mix everything into the batter first and then add it into the pan, but that doesn't give the bottom layer a chance to crisp up like this. So if you're after that crispy, crunchy Korean pancake, you have to cook that batter first. All right, now it's my turn to try. Hey, what?
Just make another one.